What's up? Good night, everyone. Good night, all gardeners. Good night, all nurses, all doctors, every hardworking people, every personnel out there who doing their job. Shout out to everyone out there, man. Shout out to everybody who doing something positive out there. Bless up yourself. Bless up yourself. So what's up? Shout out to all the truck driver. Shout out to all the bus driver. Shout out to all the authorities. Shout out to everyone who putting in the work and doing their job, man. Peace, love, and blessing to each and every one of you. What's going on, guys? All right. So last night we had a beautiful show. You could go check back out that live. We had a beautiful live last night where we was talking about the moon planting. Tonight I'm gonna elaborate a little on moon planting, and I'm also gonna talk a little about water, the element water and air. All right, we're gonna talk a little about that tonight as well. So shout out to everyone, shout out to each and everyone who out there putting in the work, who out there with their seedling, just hoping for that time come to get out there and put them in the ground. I know you guys doing your thing, man. Shout out to each and every one of you. So, all right, guys, tonight we're gonna talk about the moon for a little and how important the moon is to our plants. There's a certain time, there's a certain time when the moon reach a certain era. You know, like you have all different type of moon. You have the new moon. Some people say quarter moon. Some people say three quarter. People say different things. But there's a certain time when the moon appears, it does something marvelous to our plants. It does something marvelous to the leaves of the plant. It does something marvelous to the stem, the body of the plant. It does something marvelous even to the root. That light that the moon, that signal, that energy that the moon gives off does something marvelous to our plant. Beautiful. So guys, just remember, planting with the moon is a very interesting thing. And if you don't know much about planting by the moon, you could tune in. You could tune in to Planter Garden TV. We're gonna be talking a lot about planting with the moon. And we also gonna show you the benefit of planting with the moon or planting by the moon. There's certain days that you plant and your plants them just do wonderful. You see, it's not just when you plant them, it's also when you're taking care of them. There's certain times when the moon reaches a certain way, that's when you go out and you care for the plants them. Even when you harvesting, even when it's harvest time, is a certain time again. You gotta wait to harvest to get that's when you harvest in that time, it gives you the plant have the full nutrients inside of it that you want, that we want, that our body need. So planting by the moon is really an interesting way of planting and growing. We cannot ignore nature. If we ignore nature, we're gonna go wrong. And I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna show you how in a few minutes. I'm going to show you how you go wrong in a few minutes. Water. Just check how important water. We're just talking about water right now. We're not even talking about the sun, and we're not even talking about the wind. What we're talking about right now, the elements, water. Let's talk about water for a minute. How great water is. Water. I don't know if we understand that water, the importance of water for us, not just drinking. Yes, we need water to drink, but water is more important than just drinking and quench our thirst. It's more important. Anywhere water connects to soil, it creates life. You see what I'm saying? Anywhere water touch soil, it creates life. Soil, the earth, and water create life. Life just start forming. Anyhow, these two things just connect. You could have, let me put it this way. Let me chop it down a little simple. You could have your seed. If you have your seeds in a dry area, they will not germinate. They will just remain there and they will just stay there. Once water touch them, once water, once this seed get touched by water, life begins. Life begins. Even the plants. If you notice, where there's a river with a river and there's soil, life begins. Anywhere water connect, there's life. Without water, without water, it just remain. But from the time water touch it, you see all different type of stuff start creating. You see plants, you see parasite, you see insect just start appearing just because water touch. So look deeper into water than just drinking it and quench our thirst and just watering our plant. No, water is deeper than this. No, we try to stray away from nature, but I'm going to show you how important nature is and how we cannot do without nature. No, you could go and you could grab a few cutlings from a plant. You could cut a few cutlings from a plant. You could scrape the bottom and you could scrape the bottom and you could put it in water. You could put it in water without any sunlight and it could gather root. All you got to do, put it in a nice warm area and it gather root from the water. So this is how important water is. The element of water is to our plants, to ourselves. So much things we could do with water. Water creates, anywhere water connects with soil, it creates life. You know, in the older time, when rain come, when showers of blessing come, the people them used to shout out and give praises. They used to give praises when the rain shout, because you know what? They used to call it newborn, because every time the rain come, new life appear. Plants start growing, plants start, everything just starts shooting up. Every time the rain appear, things just start shooting up. The water, just grass start shooting up. Weeds start shooting up. Our food that we plant start shooting up just because of the rain. So they give praises to the rain. The sun, let's step over to the sun for a minute. The sun, we all know, even though the water, we all know, even though the water can cause a plant to create roots without sunlight, right? Water, you could cut cutlings, scrape off the bottom of the skin, scrape it off, and put it in water. You could even certain plants you could take and you could just put it in water, and what happened? It start gather root without it's in the sunlight. But guess what now? After that process, the life already create. Life create, right? After the process where the plants them draw their roots, guess what happen now? The sunlight. This is where the sun comes in now. The sun is what gonna take it from there. No, you need the sun. It need the sun now to grow, to produce, to produce food for us because it hard for certain plant to produce without the sunlight. So do you see how important these elements are to ourselves and the plants them? So the water creates, help creates the roots of the cutlings. The water help create the seedling to germinate without sunlight. All this process happen without sunlight. But guess what? After it reach a certain way and it start growing and it start growing, that sunlight, that sunlight is what gonna produce the right energy because the plants got to get the right energy in order to produce food, and that's where the sun comes in. The sun comes in to provides that energy to the plant, and that's how the plant able to produce. You all know without the sunlight the plant not gonna do well. It need that sunlight. You could have what kind of light you have indoors, but in order for these plants, yes, you might have some brassica and these kind of plants might provide produce under certain light, but certain plants, but you know what? They will never produce as much as if they get that sunlight that they need. And guys, I'm talking about growing stuff natural, really. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about when you're using chemical to boost your plant and these type of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about growing natural and connecting to nature. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to get that straight. If you're growing thing natural, the water will germinate. The water will germinate the seed. The water can give the cutlings roots, but the sunlight is well needed. Sometimes I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm just going to focus on the natural here. The sun, the water will germinate the seed, help germinate the seed. The water could help your root to get cuttings, even the soil could do that as well. But after they gather the roots, they also need the sun now. They need the sun to produce, to take them to that road of producing. Like for instance, you could grow certain plants indoor, because I was growing edibles in a container indoors, and it was growing, it was producing. But without that sunlight, it will not produce the way it's supposed to. But it will produce, but not the way it. They will not be as big, and the plant will not be as strong and powerful like it should. But if it's in the sunlight, it's different, because the sunlight is important. Even though sometimes you might have seedlings indoors or you have plants indoor, it's very important for them to get the wind, the breeze. This is why some people put a fan to kind of mimic nature, that they could get that breeze just like the outside. Because you got to remember, when you have these plants inside, you have to create the right atmosphere for them so they could grow grow right, and able to produce. So you have them indoor, you creating the atmosphere. The atmosphere you creating is to keep them alive. So when the weather change now, this is when you take them up and you bring them outside now to face the energy, which is the sun, the wind, the rainwater, the moon, the stars, all the elements that it couldn't get inside. You was trying to create something for it, but that was only to keep it. Now when it come outside, this is when it's in its glory, because now you have it in a place now where it's gonna be, it could strive to its best. But when you bring it out to strive for its best, you still gotta know when to take care of them, when to mold them up, when to bring the soil around their root. You still gotta know all these things, because it's all a connection. Everything have its time when certain things got to done. So once you find that connection, believe it or not, you will have a striving garden. You got to tie everything into one. You got to tie the whole process into one. And once you tie everything into one, all the elements, you got to connect them and understand their purpose and use their purpose to your advantage. You got to remember, these plants is plants that been growing for years upon years upon years. Many of them grow wild. Many of them reseed themselves and grow wild. But now we trying to create our own garden, our own little atmosphere to deal with these plants. So if we want to be successful, we have to learn. We got to learn from about these plants. Pay attention to these plants. You see? So gardening is a beautiful thing. You just got to find the connection, understand the elements, understand when should you put manure around your plant, understand how much manure you should put, understand how much water, Understand that plants don't need that much water as we think sometimes. Understand it all, and you will always have a beautiful, productive garden. But I only could speak for natural garden, guys. Okay, because in my garden we only do it natural. So I'm basically speaking, I'm basically speaking for people who want to grow their food natural. All right. So this is another segment that I come out with tonight. I hope this can encourage some of you guys to learn about the moon phrase, get to understand the planting days, get to understand when to take care of the plant, get to understand how much water you need to give these plants, get to understand these things, and you will get a very productive garden. All right, so guys, this is just a short segment tonight. I hope this can motivate someone. I hope you guys have a little understanding of what I'm saying. And I hope you guys can try and apply some of these method to your planting for you. So thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification bell, don't forget. All right. Thank you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. All right.